Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at the Xiang Da XXD158 drone. This is a small, bright, and colorful LED drone that has altitude hold, auto takeoff, auto land, 360-degree flips, headless mode, one key return, and plenty of other neat features. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this white rectangular box with some transparent plastic in the center so you can clearly see the drone. And this is the Xiang Da XXD158 drone. And it has fixed high hover mode, which is basically altitude hold, which is a good feature for these small micro quadcopters to have. And it has bright LEDs around the propellers. And right here at the top you can see a listing of its features, such as 6-axis gyro and orientation mode, which is headless mode. And it's a 2.4 gigahertz indoor-outdoor drone. And right here on the side you can see there's a couple of versions. There's a blue and a silver version, but this one right here is the black one. And here on the back you get another angle of the blue model. And right down here you could see another listing of all its features, such as the one key return and so on and so forth. And as you could see, it's a very bright LED quadcopter for ages 14 plus. And right here at the bottom you can see it comes in several configurations. There's a camera version that has a 0.3 megapixel camera, and there's a 2 megapixel 720p version. But this one right here is the non-camera version, which is still very fun to fly. So without further ado, let's open up the box and take a look inside here. Let's fold out the flaps and pull out the plastic mold inside. And right away you can see the drone and transmitter. And let's take a closer look here at the drone. And it's a real cool looking drone here. Looks kind of like a jet, like a black jet here with the cockpit there in the front. And it has these rubbery landing legs, and it also has the battery bay down below. And so let's take a closer look here at the battery. It has a 3.7 volt 450 milliamp LiPo battery, and it's not proprietary, so you can buy plenty of batteries for this. And overall, just a very cool looking drone. So we'll set it down there and we'll take a closer look here at the transmitter. Very nice, comfortable gamepad like transmitter. And here you can see all its trims, and here at the top it has its speed and flip buttons. So very nice, small, compact transmitter. Here is the instruction manual, and you could see it's well diagrammed and everything like that. So very good. And here's this little package with a screwdriver, the charger, spare propellers, so on and so forth. So let's organize this and take one last look at the contents of the box. Now, taking a last look at the contents of the box, we essentially have the drone itself. It's 3.7 volt 450 milliamp LiPo battery, spare propellers, screwdriver, the transmitter, the USB charge cable, and the instruction manuals. So that's essentially the contents of the box. Now let's take a closer look at the drone. Now, taking a closer look at the drone, this is a neat looking small quadcopter that resembles a jet. So this is a cool looking black jet here that has a cockpit, and they do have this in silver and blue. And it is a brushed motor quadcopter, and it has these white rings that are very bright LEDs that are in green and blue and are highly visible at night. So definitely a nice night flyer with excellent orientation. Here at the bottom we have very strong and supportive rubbery landing legs. And right here is its on-off switch to turn on and off the quadcopter. And a very neat design right there in the front. Probably the camera would go in the camera version of this quadcopter. And looking at the battery, it takes a 3.7 volt 450 milliamp LiPo battery, And it takes about half hour to 45 minutes to an hour to charge, and it gives the quadcopter around a 6 or 7 minute flight time. And it charges with this USB charge cable, and you just simply plug it in like that, and you plug in this part to a USB port, and you should have a light indicating that it's charging and another light that it's done. And just a good little setup here with the battery, and it is a little tight inside the quadcopter. Once you plug it in, you do have to kind of cram it in there a little bit, but it's not too difficult. You just kind of wedge in there the cable, and then you can just close the door. And it doesn't activate until you turn on the switch, as you can see here. And very bright, very nice looking quadcopter here with all these bright LEDs. And the lights do go solid once the quadcopter has been bound. So overall, a very sleek looking quadcopter. Now let's take a closer look at its transmitter. Taking a look at this small transmitter, we have our left throttle stick and our right rudder stick. And right up here we have our speed button with 3 rates of speed denoted by 1 to 3 beeps. Here's our flips button, and we'd push that and move the rudder in the direction we'd want the quadcopter to flip. And then we have our headless mode button right here. Then this is the 1 key return button right here. This would have been the photo and video button on the camera version. And this is the auto takeoff, auto land button. And these are all simply directional trims. And here is your on-off switch right here in the center. So those are the controls there. And the controller does take 3 AAA batteries, which provide it a transmission range of around 40 to 60 meters of control. So that's essentially it for the transmitter. Now let's take a closer look at setting this up for a first-time flight. Now, setting up the quadcopter for its first-time flight is very straightforward. Once you have a fully charged battery inserted into the drone, you would first activate the drone by simply turning its on-off switch on, which is right here at the bottom. So you just flick that switch and you should see the lights start to blink. At that point, you turn on the transmitter right here in the center. And then you've got to bind the transmitter to the drone by moving the left throttle stick up and down. So now the drone is bound. And a recommended step is to always calibrate your gyros, and that's done by moving both sticks down into the center like so. And you leave it there for a second until the lights blink for a couple of seconds. At that point, the gyros have been calibrated. Make sure that this is done at the ground level while the drone is flat and not moving. So now everything is bound and calibrated, and you should be ready to hit the auto takeoff button and give it some altitude and fly. And so overall, a good quadcopter. The camera version is probably very neat because it can film. If anything, it would have been nice to have a little longer range and a little more flight time. But aside from that, a very neat little quadcopter. So let's take it for a flight and see how she performs.